All right, so now it's time for the advice portion of the Story Lesson Advice podcast. The story, my card shop, the lesson that I learned was I said yes to hiring many of my customers and friends, and basically had a lot of dead weight and not a lot of collaboration or effort from other people. A lot of people wanted to be quote unquote success adjacent, but they didn't want to actually put in the work to continue to grow it. The advice that I would go back and give myself, and the advice that I give myself now and tell everybody that I can think of, including whoever's listening to this, the same thing. When it comes to most things, and this is going to be weirder than it sounds, your answer to almost everything should be no. And no is a complete sentence, and it's a full answer. So when I say almost everything should be no, think about at work. Think about how many times that you're asked to do a little of this, a little of that, help with this extra thing, do this one extra thing, add this in, whatever. And we say yes, and people that are good workers and can work quickly, they often can say yes because they can do it correctly, quickly. So it's like, fine, yeah, just give it to me. I'll do it. I'll be done in 5 minutes. And there's going to be some of that we can't avoid. I can't avoid it in my job either. But we have, I think, built in over time so much of this acceptance or this understanding that if someone asks you, the answer has to be yes unless there is some major reason preventing you. So unless you're sick or you're stuck in traffic or you have another meeting or something like that, then the kind of understanding or the assumption is that the answer should be yes. And I think that is absolute bullshit. I think the answer should be almost no unless there is a value-added reason for you or me to do that thing. And I am talking about being selfish with our time, because that is one of the few resources that is not renewable. And if you say yes to 10 different things every day or every week that just take a few minutes here or a quick 20-minute call there, or hey, can you draft this up or whatever, you are overextending yourself and you're spending time on things that is taking you away from what you should be doing. And this goes again to other aspects of life. One of the things that I try to convince my mom about, and she's fine with it now, but at first she wasn't, is especially with like Ring doorbells and everything. If someone rings the doorbell at your house, that doesn't mean that you have to go answer the door. It just means that someone is ringing the doorbell. And if anybody has had solicitations from, solar panel people or roof people after a storm or something like that, you get a ton of people showing up at your door, knocking and ringing your doorbell. And if you open up, you're automatically engaging in something. So unless you're expecting something, or unless you think it's one of your neighbors or something like that you want to talk to them, there's no expectation that you have to do that. Same with the phone call. The understanding and assumption has been over the course of time that if someone calls you, that you need to answer the phone. And now we're a lot better about, sending people to voicemail or just not answering or whatever. But you don't have to say yes to almost anything. There's very few things. So what I would try to tell myself, go back in time, tell my daughter when she's older and now, is that you can say no, and you should say no to almost everything. And once you get comfortable saying no, then you will see a huge amount of time and energy and just sort of a weight lifted off your shoulders. All of that will just open up. So my advice is say no to almost everything.